call the meeting to order. First order of business, consider a motion to approve the minutes of the October 18th board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote signify approving minutes by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Approved minutes. Financial update, Ms. Bartlett couldn't be here this morning. So the only thing I would like to, I guess it's included in the packet, the financial statement was emailed out to everyone. One thing I'd like to point out on there is that we did go ahead and allocate the funds from the advertising section of the budget up into the payroll section in anticipation of the increased payroll burden due to moving the employees under to city employees. So that was, you will notice that on the financials that was moved. It wasn't moved out of any. It was existing in the budget, just moved from one category to the next. So it trued up, so to speak. So next order of business, the committee roundtable. Joanna is out. She's on vacation this week, but we did meet last week with Elizabeth Mullis. She is as she says, a cheap go-getter. What she does is bring in meeting planners into a community in a familiarization tour. So she gathers the decision makers and facilitators of association and convention, and she brings them into a community and tours them around the community, lets them see the facilities, everything from the parks, restaurants, and just get to experience the community for themselves before they go back and tell their clients if this community might be acceptable for them to host their event or their conference at. And so she was in town last week. She got the nickel tour and was quite impressed with our community. We are working with her to bring in a familiarization tour in the first quarter of next year. Hopefully we'll have 20 to 40 meeting planners who will be on that tour and come experience our community so they can go back and assist us in getting some outside association and conventions to come to our community. So it's very exciting, and that's Ms. Mullins' sole objective is to connect decision makers with communities so that they can bring business in. So very excited about that.
John, we had, I don't know if this has ever been done before, and I don't even know if it would be appropriate to do, but when we have people, like certain particular people that could yield large amounts of business for DEC for convention visitors business, does the board ever host them, like host a, we'd say like a cocktail party, but a coffee or something? We could even use, and I would think like a place like the Cole Art Center would be a place to do that. And then maybe have some other local stakeholders that are interested or that have businesses that benefit from that and kind of do a little like event.
Right, and certainly something like that. Certainly like to have. What we can't do is we can, as a board, all get together with them unless it's because then something like that would be.
There's an exception for gathering for social gathering purposes, and so you could do that. It's
on a flow basis, just as long as
right. It's just considered a social gathering.
Okay, well then we can do it, and certainly something we will entertain. When we plan, and when we plan for this familiarization tour, there will be a lot more communication about it, and when they're here, we will certainly probably plan several events around the folks who are here, so they can get face to face with the members of the community and our partners at the CVB.
Will they be staying here more than one night? At
the moment, we're still developing at the moment, I believe it's one night that we're looking at, but
Do we comp those?
the Royal the initial cost for Ms. Mullins is part of the sales and marketing budget for her services. The familiarization tour is something that the community partners, the hoteliers will absorb. And our community partners, if you want to host a cocktail party or a luncheon, then we would try to get our community partners to assist us with that cost burden.
Do you know if she stayed in the city? She out.
She stayed near the heart of downtown.
Well, I meant in her touring.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Joanna took her just about everywhere. I think did they go out to Zipnac too?
I believe so, as well as the Expo Center.
That's right.
They had a full day.
Yes, she kept her pretty busy. And her initial visit was to see if this, if she, what she thought that she could help us with. And she was, certainly blown away by our community. So she's has sent back correspondence. She be happy to bring her clients here, and she thinks that this is an easy sell. So we think that too. So I'm greatly anticipating their visit. And as we move along with that, we'll certainly pass on that information to the board for that. Any other business committees? It's been huge. Getting the meeting planners to this community, getting them in this community is very. Anyone who's been in sales knows that you face to face is so important.
We've got closers on this board.
That's right. That's right. We do.
We put us to use.
ABC, right?
Let's give you something to talk about.
I can close on that.
All right. Move to discussion items and presentation. So the we did. It is on here the discussion for moving 46,000 from marketing to admin expenses. That was done by Ms. Bartlett. Since it wasn't it wasn't funds coming from outside the budget, from outside the scope. I don't believe that we need to actually vote on that. Next order is consider the bids for the E&O insurance, and they are attached here with our packet.
I think we sent it out for 3. We got 2. One's a questionnaire. I think that came from somebody in our office. And so that would have to be filled out before we have a third quote.
Yeah, and certainly there's members on this board more familiar with this type of document than myself. So
We have 2 experts on it.
right. So
So one's a questionnaire that came from our office and it hadn't been filled out yet. So
okay.
they all run pretty much about the same cost. Just I think if we can get somebody to fill out this questionnaire, we can have a third quote.
Okay. Well,
I kind of stay away from it.
sure. Well, I do know that Mr. Roy Blake Jr., that's who we have insurance with currently and we work with. So I don't know if that usually sometimes, they say the bundle, you get a better deal. Was that not the case? And
That's not necessarily this kind of insurance.
okay. So let's do this. Discuss and consider bids. I get a motion to discuss and consider bids for D&O insurance.
So moved.
I'll second it.
A second. I got a motion, a second. So discussion. Do we feel that do we have the ability to wait on this? Is this something that we have to enact before the transition over to the
No,
city?
this is something that, as a board member, I would want to have it. So this is for your protection. There's actually, I don't believe there's a requirement to have it.
I would like I personally, the complete information before we make a decision. So if I would be comfortable if we waited for the questionnaire to be completed and returned.
Can we appoint somebody to do that?
We certainly can. And certainly,
Probably the staff member.
right.
And y'all are going to be shocked to hear this. I'm actually not very well versed on property and casualty insurance, which this falls under. Life and health is my specialty.
Original liability.
Yeah,
That's what I would call it, so.
can you, when, not necessarily now or when we get the third quote, could you kind of brief us on what this is, why we need it, what it is, what we risk if we don't have it, and what we gain by having it?
I'm surprised that we have not already had it. I just assumed that any board like this that's dealing with state or local money would have protection. So I think it's a good deal that we move forward on it.
We currently have a form of insurance, a surety bond, that I think is similar to
Well, that
this.
covers the money side of it,
Okay.
as opposed to any thing that the board does that might be perceived potentially to be negligent. That's why
So we have, currently we don't have, should we make a decision that somebody decided to sue us over? We currently have nothing protecting us from that, and this is what that would protect.
That's correct.
That's correct?
Yeah.
So we have nothing right now.
That's correct. It protects the board members and their normal functions.
Yes.
So it also protects the staff, does it not?
Do we have that?
If it's so stated in,
It stands for directors and
Right.
officers.
Right.
So yes, would it in most cases. However, I'm sure the city has proper insurance. Liability case maybe.
Okay, well, that's right. Going on to the city would be a little different.
You have your general liability, but on errors and omissions, if you do something illegal, nothing is going to protect you.
No.
But if you're sued for something individually and you're acting within the scope of duties, then if you don't have this insurance, then that expense of defense is going to fall on you. If you do have insurance, if you do anything illegal, then it's going to fall on the insurance will take care of it. That's why it's wise to never serve on any board which handles money, to make sure that you have this type of policy to protect you individually and your assets.
I have it as an insurance agent. So it's errors, if that's
Errors and omissions, which is a little bit
it's
different.
essentially errors and omissions for
Designed
us.
specifically.
Or,
Yeah, this is that, designed specifically for nonprofit boards, okay, on what these products are. So, yeah, I mean, we need to have it. It's just a matter of, put it off another cycle. And somebody send us this questionnaire, and then we get a hard quote, and we know where we're standing.
all right, so I guess we have a motion and a second, so we need to
vote to get the third quote.
vote to get the third quote.
With the vacuum that we have, already, to do it, see about assigning somebody. Please,
Right.
get it back to read, please, so you can get it.
So let's vote to do it first and then appoint somebody to do it. Is that, do we wrap the appointment into the vote?
No, we're considering bids, we're voting to consider bids, and I think that's exactly what we're going to do, so, and then we'll appoint appropriate staff member, someone who feels most comfortable in doing it and getting this information filled out.
Possibly Ron, if they feel like they maybe aren't sure of some things, maybe Ron can help them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fill that out.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple questionnaire.
And if we get the bid back within the next week or so, could we maybe even do a phone conference or in some way vote on this in a special.
Yeah, we'd have to post it and be a special.
Is Tony be back this week?
Tony's wife is having surgery right now, actually, this morning, and so he's not expected back till Monday.
All right. I can get with Mike. I'll be Mike.
Okay.
I can let Mike fill it out. I'll be happy to help.
If I'm reading these correctly, these two bids are pretty close.
Yeah, it's all pretty much.
Within
It's not a standard
$100.
market, but it's usually a standard. She comes within a very tight range as far as cost is concerned.
Mr. Chairman, the way that this is posted, I think it's acceptable for the board to authorize you as chair to award bid, give them another week if you don't want to do it.
Oh, so we don't have to do a special session?
And then put it on a meeting a month from now for the board to confirm the action. That way, you're covered as soon as you can.
Okay.
I make a motion that you be authorized to approve to solicit the bid, and once you receive that, to make a decision on which one you think is best. Then we'll confirm that decision next meeting.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Very good. We'll get that done quickly. Get with
I'll get Mike.
And next item brings me great personal joy. Like everyone already knows, Miss Sherry Morgan is here with us. She's gracious enough to come. She wanted to come to our board meeting today and meet everyone and experience. She did meet with the last week with the city council, and she is rare to go. And so, welcome very much. You had the whirlwind day last week of meeting everyone, and a lot of familiar faces came to greet you that you've known. So, welcome. We're glad to have you, and we're excited about the future you bring for us and the staff.
I'll be starting on the 18th, my official start. Looking forward to it.
December or November?
December.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be.
I'll see you there.
That would be.
That's okay.
Again, welcome. We're very excited. We're gonna move forward and keep trucking ahead. And we've got some exciting things on the horizon, and I'm glad to finally have the team complete. That's going to move us in the correct direction, get us moving forward. Tony's not here to stay before. His wife is having surgery, so he did go to be with her. And Ms. Fontenot.
Okay, for the marketing report, put a couple of items where you're sitting. And the first is this rack card that has all the events for the Nine Flags Christmas Festival. So this is a rack card that we're distributing across town. We did order a pretty good quantity. Hancock designed this for us, and we think it turned out very nicely. We're happy to have a professional piece to pass out for this festival. So we're in the process of getting those passed out both downtown and around town as well.
Stephanie,
So, yes,
is there any way we can get this published in the paper on a weekly basis and make sure that we put sponsored by or our logo down at the bottom of it? The more that we can get our name and logo out there in front of people, I think it would help.
Yes, sir. I agree. Yes, I'll certainly check on that. I'm sure we can.
Quite often I check the paper and then I go to my calendar and start writing things down that I need to get. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's a great idea. I'm happy to check that.
And I still challenge our board members as you're doing these things to do your trip
Yes,
post, please.
those are helpful.
I keep preach it to
We do have a box of these upstairs, so if you'd like to take some to the chamber.
I do.
elsewhere, please feel free to pick up as many as you'd like upstairs. Those are available. On the marketing report, I was going to point out just a few things. I am happy that the budget is finalized as far as our advertising budget for this year. I've worked with Chris Hancock, and he's been extremely helpful. I passed on the number that we were willing to dedicate to advertising specifically, and he's come back with a plan that fits exactly and kind of what I was hoping for, and what I know Shirley has been extremely helpful with helping me narrow down what we want to target. So he's right in line with what we're hoping to do. So now we have a solid plan. So now we can move forward. So I'm excited so we can get through the rest of the fiscal year with our advertising plan. So that's very exciting. Okay, I did go ahead and purchase a full panel ad in the chamber map. I'm excited about that ad. It's cute. I've got the design. Basically, you know, a lot of people come into the visitor center and ask for a map, and that chamber map is the most comprehensive Nacogdoches map that exists, and so it's what we always hand to our visitors. So what we put in the advertisement is, it says, you know, Texas starts here, but you should start here, and it has an arrow pointing to our visitor center.
Awesome.
So that way, you know, not only if we hand it out in the center, but elsewhere, they'll know to come to this building, get our information, handouts, and we'll help you plan from there. So I'm excited about that. That ad is about to be finalized. Chairman McLaren had requested a weekly flyer to be created and passed out to our lodging partners. And I'm doing that every week. And the flyer is basically what's happening this weekend in Nacogdoches. And so I create that every week and I email it out to all the hotels, all the beds and breakfasts. And we do it in a way that can be printed out. I know the Fredonia actually gives their visitors folders, information, so they can print that out and include it. And it's just a way, you know, if those visitors are already here in town, we're trying to get those events and those opportunities in their hands, so they'll go out and do a little bit more, maybe stay a little bit longer. So we've been doing that for about 4 weeks now.
Right, and if I'll expand on that, or piggyback on that a little bit, from the other side of it, that is a extremely useful tool for our guests. So we give that out to everyone, whether it's the weekend or not. And so when we have business travelers in during the week, last night we were almost at 60% on a Tuesday night, which is phenomenal for us. So these individuals are here for the for work in whatever capacity that their entity they're here for. So then we show them, hey, in December we have these events coming up, or this is what's coming up the next few weeks. And we've had several people, not just one, that there may have been more that, you know, they come and tell me, hey, this guest just booked but they booked to come back because we are in that drive time, that 3 hour, 3 to 4 hour drive time where they can come back and stay again for a social and a leisure stay, and they're here for business. So I would.
We've done some rebook.
Absolutely, right. and that's one of the tools that is helpful in securing that. And I think that as most of us know, that it's not generally one faceted that secures business. It's many points that might secure that the future bookings. And so the more information, the more we can present our community to the guest, no matter what reason that they're here for. I think the more return we get on that. So just like getting us in the paper as well, and certainly that weekly flyer is very helpful from a hotelier standpoint.
Do we know whether or not the others are handing it out like that?
I do not know. I know I've gotten some feedback specifically from 2 bed and breakfasts, and they've actually replied and said, thank you, this is very helpful. But I have not heard from other hotels, so I'd be interested to know. But I always like to include in the email, please feel free to print this out, because it is a PDF. Please feel free to share it with your visitors. So I do try to encourage that.
And even if I say they don't book, it's still another piece that impresses them that we have this in our community, to have these functions, so it enhances their visit while they're here, and plants that seed maybe for the future. So very useful, and
And we've had a lot of community members share it too. I was excited to see someone from Nedco here because she shares it every week. And we have multiple organizations that do share it right behind us, and it's very helpful. So let's see here. I've also worked with Hancock Advertising to create, I'm trying to get ahead of our collateral production. And so one of the things that we do use all the time are physical handouts. And so just like this rack card right here, one of the things that we're going to start doing is producing a bi-monthly rack card. And it's just going to have upcoming events, big upcoming events that we know are going to happen. And an example of that, the one we're about to start working on will be one for January and February. So the rack card on the front will be January events, on the back will be February events. And I like that it's structured because we can get out ahead of that project and it's going to be productive. We could get the March, April, we can get ahead of it. And I think that's going to be useful. And everything that I'm doing, I'm doing it in a way, I'm trying to create a 2018 calendar so that we reproduce these productive things that we're doing. So I'm really excited about that. Let's see. Joanna and I have been working on creating some in-kind goodie bags for kind of VIP visitors. You can see the pin that I put where you're sitting. This is one of our promo items that we're including. We've got a number of items that we've ordered, and this is just an example of something with our updated logo that we have ordered that we will include. We have some real cute brown paper bag gift bags, and they will include a little notebook, pen, depending on the type of group. But everything that we're doing, we're trying to create a permanent cost estimate so that we can replicate that for future groups and know how much is going to come out of our budget. So we're just in the beginning stages of that. We've had our restaurant brochure redesigned, and it looks really nice. Upstairs, if you've looked at our brochure rack, we've had a black and white copy of a printed, it's very plain and just black and white, and it's not very exciting. So the redesign, we've included just unique restaurants, not necessarily chains. We do have every single restaurant listed on our website. So we're not necessarily leaving anybody out because we still have the link to the website on the bottom, for a cool list. Just go there. But it's very creative, lots of good pictures. So we're excited about that. We should have those in within this next month. So we do have that. That's about it on the marketing side. I know Joanna did ask for me to mention, like Chairman McLaren said, the meeting planner coming in. And then on her report that you've already seen, she highlighted the room nights that had come about from some of the work that she's been doing. So that's what she had asked me to just highlight to make sure y'all take a look at that.
Right, and that report's on the last page of our packet. And, we had vintage market days in, and that generated about 175 room nights. That greatly. The half marathon, I was surprised at the amount of business associated with that, too. That was a lot of folks were in for that this last weekend. And so a couple of good things. We have Holiday in the Pines coming up this week too. So I know that they were full to capacity and had to turn away vendors for that event. So looking forward to that. It's been a great fall so far, I think, for the community. And it had the Smith Travel Report. I'll share that with the board when it does come out. It is the board that kind of gauges what the market is doing from a hotel standpoint, where it is comparison year over year. And I think that's something that we'll start sending out to the board members so we can see where we're at in relationship to last year and kind of get a feel for the market at the important where we are. Also considering that that's what drives our budget too. So awesome. Thank you, Steph. Thanks. Forward to Mr. Bay is otherwise occupied there, but I think Mr. Bay was busy working on said bags for this weekend, actually. I think he was getting about 100 of those bags together for folks coming in this weekend. So that's a great takeaway. These guests take it with them, take it back to their communities, and it get our brand, our logo brand of Nacogdoches out there, certainly the better. So with that, with nothing else on the agenda, designate the next time, date, location of this meeting will be here at the Charles Bright Visitor Center on December 20th, Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. And that will be